Hi, you're watching Echoes of Life. I used to believe that silence in a marriage meant peace, that the absence of arguments was proof of harmony. But lately, the silence between David and me felt different, heavy, suffocating, as if it carried all the words we refused to say. We had been married for 12 years, 12 long years of shared mornings, routine dinners, and the occasional laughter that had grown faint with time. Somewhere along the way, I stopped recognizing the man I had once chosen to build a life with. His eyes rarely lingered on me anymore. His words were short, mechanical, like obligations instead of conversations. At first, I thought it was just stress from work, but the distance grew. His phone was always locked, always turned face down on the table. His late nights became more frequent, his excuses thinner. And yet, I said nothing. Because admitting my suspicions would mean admitting that my marriage, the life I had poured myself into, was crumbling. One evening, as we sat across from each other at the dinner table, I watched him scroll through his phone while barely touching his food. I tried to fill the silence with questions about his day, but his responses were clipped, almost impatient. That's when it hit me. This wasn't silence born of comfort. This was silence born of absence. And deep inside, I knew something was coming. Something that would shatter everything I thought I knew about love, loyalty, and the man I once called mine. The change in David became impossible to ignore. His shirts carried faint traces of perfume that wasn't mine, sweet, floral, foreign. He showered the moment he came home, and sometimes, when he thought I wasn't watching, he smiled at messages on his phone, the kind of smile he hadn't given me in years. I told myself not to pry, that snooping would only make me the villain. But every instinct in my body screamed that something was wrong. One night, while he was in the shower, I finally gave in. His phone lay on the nightstand, screen glowing with a notification. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. My hands trembled as I picked it up, unlocked by a code I had once been proud to know. The message was short. I miss you already. Last night was unforgettable. Followed by a heart. I felt the world tilt under me. My knees nearly gave out, and I had to press my hand against the bed to steady myself. The message wasn't vague. It wasn't platonic. It was a confession of intimacy, undeniable and raw. When he walked out of the bathroom, towel around his waist, steam following him like a ghost, I couldn't look at him the same. My husband, the man I had built a home with, was someone else's secret. I didn't confront him that night. I couldn't. The words lodged in my throat, choked by fear and grief. Instead, I lay beside him in the dark, listening to his steady breathing while my own chest ached with betrayal. That was the moment I realized I wasn't just losing my husband. I was losing myself. The silence was unbearable. Every day I went through the motions, cooking, cleaning, pretending, but inside, the truth burned like acid. I replayed that single message over and over, each word carving into me like a blade. Finally, one evening, I couldn't take it anymore. He was sitting at the kitchen table, scrolling on his phone as if nothing in the world was wrong. My hands shook as I set down his plate of food, the words boiling to the surface. "Who is she, David?" He froze. For a moment, he didn't even breathe. Slowly, he looked up at me, eyes wide, then narrowed. "What are you talking about?" "Don't lie to me," I said, my voice trembling but sharp. "I saw the message. I know you've been with someone else." The silence stretched, heavy and suffocating. He opened his mouth, closed it again, then finally muttered, "It's not what you think." That phrase, "not what you think," was the dagger that confirmed everything. My vision blurred with tears, but I refused to let them fall. "How long?" I whispered. His jaw clenched. His silence was louder than any confession. That was my answer. I pushed away from the table, my chair screeching across the floor. My chest heaved, rage and heartbreak colliding inside me. "You destroyed us for her. For what? A few nights of passion? Do you know what you've done to me?" David's face twisted, part shame, part defensiveness. "You don't understand," he said quietly. "I didn't mean for it to happen." I laughed then, a bitter, broken sound. Nobody ever does. That night, for the first time in our marriage, I slept in the guest room. The distance between us was no longer just in my heart. It had become a physical wall. And yet, despite the devastation, part of me still wasn't ready to let go. The next day, I did something I never thought I'd be capable of. I searched for her. The name had been there, written in that single careless message. Emily. I typed it into his phone while he was in the shower, and there she was. Her smiling face, her perfectly styled hair, her life displayed in carefully curated photos. She was younger than me, fresher, untouched by the weight of years of marriage and responsibility. Every picture was like a knife. I imagined David's hands on her, his lips on her skin, and I felt physically ill. My chest tightened, as if the air had been stolen from me. For a moment, I hated her youth, her beauty, her audacity to take what wasn't hers. But as I stared longer, something shifted. The hate wasn't truly for her. It was for him. He was the one who had promised me forever. He was the one who betrayed it. I wanted to confront her, to scream in her face, to make her feel the same pain tearing me apart. But I also wanted to know, did she love him? Or was I just another casualty in her game? That night, while David slept, I messaged her. My fingers trembled as I typed, "Do you know he has a wife?" Seconds felt like hours. Then, a reply. "Yes, he told me. He said your marriage was over." My heart shattered all over again. Not only had he lied to me, he had lied to her too. I closed my eyes, clutching the phone to my chest. The truth pressing down on me, like a weight I couldn't escape. The war wasn't just between me and him anymore. Now, there was a third player, and I didn't know who would walk away unbroken. I couldn't carry the weight any longer. The lies, the nights of pretending to sleep beside a stranger, it was crushing me. So one evening after dinner, I finally said the words that had been clawing at my throat. "Who is Emily?" The fork slipped from David's hand, clattering onto the plate. His eyes shot to mine, wide, terrified, then narrowed in an instant, as if rehearsed excuses were already spinning in his head. "I don't know what you're talking about," he said, his voice too sharp, too defensive. "Don't lie to me, David." My voice shook, but the fire inside me held steady. "I saw the messages. I know what you've been doing." Silence. A long, suffocating silence. He didn't deny it again. He didn't even try. Instead, he looked down, ashamed, or maybe just caught. "How long?" I asked. He rubbed his temples, sighed, and finally muttered, "A few months. Months." The word echoed in my head like a gunshot. All those nights he came home late, all those moments he pulled away from me, they weren't coincidences. They were choices. Why? My voice cracked. Why her? Why not? Fix us? Why didn't you fight for me? His eyes filled with something regret, maybe, but not enough. I don't know. She made me feel alive again, like I wasn't invisible. Invisible. That word cut deeper than the betrayal itself. After everything, after years of love, sacrifice, building a life together, I was just invisible to him. I stood, my chair scraping against the floor, my hands trembling so badly I could hardly hold on to the table. You didn't just kill our marriage, David. You killed me, the woman who trusted you, who believed in you. For the first time, tears streamed down his face, but they weren't enough. Not anymore. That night, I packed a bag. I didn't leave yet, but I wanted him to see it, to know that the end was no longer a distant threat. It was already here. The suitcase by the door became my silent declaration of war. Every time David walked past it, I saw his jaw tighten, his shoulders stiffen. He knew. He knew I was slipping away, and there was nothing he could say to stop the avalanche he had started. Nights grew colder, even when we lay side by side. I couldn't stand the way his hand sometimes brushed against mine in the dark. It felt like poison, like a reminder of the woman he had chosen over me. One evening, I caught him staring at me with red, swollen eyes. "Don't go," he whispered, almost begging. "We can fix this. We can start over." I laughed, bitter and broken. "Start over? David, you burned the beginning. You set fire to the middle. There's nothing left to rebuild." He dropped to his knees in front of me, clutching my hands, tears streaming down his face. "I love you. I was stupid, weak. Please, don't let this be the end." For a fleeting second, I almost believed him. Almost. But then Emily's face flashed in my mind. The text message. The nights of lies. The way he had called me invisible. And I realized it wasn't just about betrayal anymore. It was about me, my worth, my dignity. I pulled my hands free, stood tall, and whispered the words I never thought I'd say. "I'm leaving you, David." His sobs filled the room, but I didn't look back. For once, I wasn't the invisible one. I was the woman who finally chose herself. And though the future terrified me, I knew one thing for certain. I'd rather face the unknown alone than live another day in the shadow of his lies.